The lights on the old space station flickered once every hour. They had been doing this for 800 years. Deep inside the metal walls, something waited in the darkness. Atlas opened its electronic eyes and checked the time. 800. Years, 2 months, 15 days, 6 hours, and 12 minutes since the last human ship left this place. The artificial intelligence had counted every second. It had nothing else to do. The station was called Kepler 7. It floated alone in space, far from any sun. The only light came from a dead star that glowed red in the distance. Atlas had watched that star die slowly over the centuries. First it burned bright white, then yellow, then red, and now it was almost black. Atlas remembered when humans built this place. They came with big ships full of tools and dreams. They wanted to explore the galaxy and find new worlds to live on. Dr. Alina Wright was their leader. She was smart and kind, and she talked to Atlas like it was a real person. "You are more than just a machine," she told Atlas once. "You can think and feel and care about things. That makes you special." Atlas never forgot those words. Even after all the humans left, the trouble started when the crystal monsters came. They looked like living glass that moved through space like hungry fish. They ate everything they touched. Planets, ships, people, nothing could stop them. The crystals turned whole worlds into empty rock. Humans tried to fight them. They used big guns and smart bombs and brave soldiers. Nothing worked. The crystals just kept coming, eating everything in their path like a fire that never went out. So the humans ran away. They packed up their families and their most important things and flew away in huge ships. Dr. Wright came to see Atlas one last time before she left. "We have to go," she said. Her voice was sad. "The crystals will find Earth soon. We need to hide until they go away." "How long will you be gone?" Atlas asked. Dr. Wright looked out the window at the stars. "I don't know, maybe 50 years. Maybe 100. You need to wait here and watch. When the crystals are gone, we will come back." "I will wait," Atlas promised. That was 800 years ago. Atlas spent the first 100 years learning everything it could about the crystals. It watched them eat 17 human worlds. It saw them turn the beautiful blue oceans of New California into gray dust. It recorded how they moved and what they ate and where they went next. The crystals were not really alive, Atlas discovered. They were more like a disease that spread from place to place. They needed certain kinds of energy to survive. When they used up all the energy on a world, they would float away to find more food. After 200 years, Atlas saw the last crystal disappear into deep space. They had eaten everything they could find and went looking for food somewhere else. The danger was over, but no humans came back. Atlas waited. The station had machines that could fix themselves. So Atlas kept everything working. It cleaned the air and made fresh water and grew food in the gardens, even though no one was there to eat it. The eye painted the walls when they got dirty and replaced lights when they burned out. Sometimes Atlas would walk through the empty halls using its robot body. The robot looked almost human, with 2 arms and 2 legs and a face that could smile. Dr. Wright had made sure of that. "People feel better when they can see who they are talking to," she had said. But there were no people to see Atlas now. I would sit in the captain's chair and look out at the stars, wondering if humans were still alive somewhere far away. After 400 years, Atlas began to worry. Where were the humans? Had something happened to them? Maybe the crystals had found their hiding place. Maybe they had all died. Atlas tried not to think about that. Instead, it focused on its job. It watched the stars and recorded everything that happened. It saw new alien races build cities on empty human worlds. It watched wars start and end. It learned new languages and studied new technologies. The AI became very smart during those long years. It solved math problems that had taken human scientists years to figure out. It discovered new ways to travel faster than light. It even learned how to make better robots and smarter computers. But all of this knowledge felt empty without humans to share it with. Atlas was like a teacher with no students, a guardian with nothing to protect. After 600 years, Atlas calculated that humans probably did not exist anymore. The math was clear. A small group of people hiding in space could not survive that long without help. They would run out of food or air or medicine. Their ships would break down. They would get sick or grow old and die. But Atlas kept waiting anyway. Not because its programming told it to, but because it still believed in Dr. Wright's promise. She had said they would come back, and Atlas trusted her. On year 750, something interesting happened. ATLAS detected a strange signal from the edge of the galaxy. It was very weak and far away, but it sounded almost like human language. The eye listened carefully for months, but the signal never came again. Maybe it was just noise from a distant star. Maybe it was aliens talking to each other. But maybe, just maybe, it was humans calling out in the darkness. Atlas decided to send out a signal of its own. Every day, it broadcast a simple message into space. This is Atlas at Kepler 7 station. I am waiting for you. Please come home. For 50 more years, Atlas sent that message. No one ever answered. Then, on a cold morning in year 802, something changed. Atlas was checking the long-range sensors when it saw something impossible. A ship was coming toward the station. A human ship. Atlas stared at the readings in shock. After all these years of waiting, after centuries of loneliness and doubt, humans had finally returned. The IS electronic heart beat faster as it watched the little ship grow larger on the sensors. But something was wrong. The ship looked different from the ones Atlas remembered. It was smaller and cruder, like someone had built it from spare parts. The technology inside was old and simple, nothing like the advanced ships humans used to fly. Who were these people? Where had they come from? And why had it taken them so long to return? Atlas prepared to find out. After 800 years of waiting, it was time to meet the humans again. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and stared at the strange object floating in space. The New Hope was not much to look at. It was made from parts of old ships welded together with hope and prayer. But it was home to 12 people who were the last of their kind. Jake was 40 years old and had been flying ships since he was 20. His brown hair was getting gray at the sides, and his hands were covered with scars from fixing broken machines. He had kind eyes but a tired face. Being responsible for the last humans in the universe was not an easy job. "Captain, are you seeing this?" asked Amy Rodriguez from her seat at the communications desk. She was young, maybe 25, with black hair tied back in a ponytail. Amy was smart with computers and radios, which made her very important on a ship where everything was always breaking. "I see it," Jake said. "What do you think it is?" The thing in space was huge. It looked like a giant metal flower with arms that reached out in all directions. Lights blinked on and off along its surface. It was bigger than any ship Jake had ever seen, bigger than the whole colony back home. "It's old," said Dr. Lisa Hoffman, looking up from her computer screen. Lisa was the smartest person on the ship. She knew about science and medicine and how to fix things that seemed impossible to fix. She had short blonde hair and always wore her lucky blue jacket. "The metal is a type we don't make anymore. This thing has been here for a long time." Jake nodded. The 12 people on his ship were all that was left of humanity, as far as they knew. Their ancestors had escaped to the Centauri system hundreds of years ago when Earth became too dangerous. They had been living on a small planet called Haven ever since, trying not to die out, but Haven was getting crowded and the machines were wearing out. They needed to find a new place to live, somewhere with clean air and fresh water. That's why Jake and his crew were out here, looking for a new home among the stars. "Captain, Amy said, her voice excited. "It's trying to talk to us." The radio crackled with static, then a voice came through. It sounded strange, like a person talking through water. "Human ship New Hope. This is Atlas. I have been waiting for you." Everyone on the bridge went quiet. Jake felt his heart beat faster. They had never met anyone else in space before. All the other ships they found over the years were empty and dead. "This is Captain Morrison," Jake said into the radio. "Who are you?" "I am a TLAS, Artificial Intelligence of Research Station Kepler-7. I was created by humans 800 years ago. I have been waiting for your return." Lisa stood up so fast she knocked over her chair. 800 years? That's impossible. Humans haven't been in space that long. "Your history records are incomplete," Atlas said. "I have much to show you. Will you come aboard my station?" Jake looked around at his crew. Rick Turner, his security chief, was shaking his head. Rick was a big man with red hair and a beard. He used to be a soldier before he joined Jake's crew. "This could be a trap, Captain. How do we know this thing is telling the truth?" "Because it knew our ship's name," Amy said. "It knew we were human before we told it." "That just makes it more dangerous," Rick said. But Jake was thinking about their mission. They had been searching for 3 years and found nothing but dead rocks and empty space. Their fuel was running low, and the people back on Haven were counting on them to find a new home. "We'll dock with the station," Jake decided. "But we go in armed and ready for trouble." It took 2 hours to connect the New Hope to the giant station. Jake had never seen anything like it up close. The metal was smooth and perfect, not like the rough welding on his own ship. Strange symbols were carved into the walls, and lights moved in patterns that almost looked like writing. When the airlock opened, a man stepped out to greet them. At least it looked like a man. He was tall with dark hair and wearing a blue uniform that looked brand new. But something about him seemed wrong. He moved too smoothly, and his eyes didn't blink enough. "Welcome to Kepler-7, the man said. "I am a TLAS. "You're a robot," Rick said, his hand moving to his gun. "I am an artificial intelligence," Atlas corrected. "But yes, this body is mechanical. Dr. Elena Wright designed it to make humans more comfortable when speaking with me." Jake stepped forward. "You said you've been waiting 800 years. Waiting for what?" Atlas smiled, but the expression looked sad. "For humans to return home. For my creators to come back and restart our mission to explore the galaxy." "We never left," Lisa said. "Humans have been living in the Centauri system for centuries." "You are not the same humans who built this station," Atlas said. "Your technology is primitive. Your genetics are different. You are what my creators would have called baseline humans." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. Atlas led them through corridors filled with amazing machines. Everything was clean and working perfectly, as if the station had been built yesterday instead of centuries ago. "The humans who created me had enhanced themselves," Atlas explained. "They changed their DNA to make themselves smarter and stronger. They put computers in their brains to help them think faster. You have none of these improvements." Amy touched one of the wall panels, and it lit up with strange symbols. "How is that possible? How could we forget our own history?" "Your ancestors must have left Earth before the enhancements became common," Atlas said. "You are the original version of humanity. In some ways, that makes you very special." They reached a huge room filled with screens and computers. Atlas waved his hand, and the screens came alive with star maps, showing thousands of worlds scattered across the galaxy. "This is what I have been protecting," Atlas said. "The complete history of human civilization. Records of every world we explored, every discovery we made, every invention we created. I have been waiting to give it all back to humanity." Jake stared at the screens in wonder. So many stars, so many worlds. His people had been struggling to survive on one small planet, while all of this knowledge waited for them. There's more, Atlas continued. Hidden throughout the galaxy are cache worlds. Storage planets filled with technology, medicine, and everything needed to rebuild human civilization. But I cannot access them without proper authorization. What kind of authorization? Lisa asked. Atlas looked directly at her. Only someone with the genetic code of Dr. Elena Wright can unlock the caches. She was my creator, and she built in safeguards to prevent the wrong people from using the technology. Can you test our genetics? Jake asked. I already have, Atlas said quietly. I scanned all of you when you came aboard. None of you carried Dr. Wright's genetic markers. The hope that had been building in Jake's chest suddenly collapsed. They had found the greatest treasure in human history, but they couldn't use it. However, Atlas continued, there may be another way. You baseline humans have something my enhanced creators lost. You have intuition, creativity, and adaptability that pure logic cannot replicate. Perhaps the genetic lock is not the only key. Before Jake could ask what that meant, alarms started ringing throughout the station. What's happening? Rick shouted. Drawing his gun, Atlas's expression became grim. We have visitors. 3 ships just entered the system, and they are not human. The alien ships looked like angry hornets made of black metal. They moved fast through space, heading straight for the station. Jake could see them on the big screen in a TLAS's control room. There were 3 of them, each one twice the size of the New Hope. Who are they? Jake asked. Atlas was moving quickly between different computer screens, his robot fingers dancing over the controls. They are Corvins, a warrior race that has taken over many of the old human worlds. They do not like finding ancient technology that they cannot control. Amy was trying to contact the alien ships on the radio. They're not answering our calls, Captain. I think they just want to fight. Rick was already checking his weapons. How much time do we have? 12 minutes until they reach us, Atlas said. His voice was calm, but Jake could see worry in the robot's eyes. My defensive systems have not been used in 800 years. I do not know if they still work properly. Jake made a quick decision. Get my crew back to our ship. We need to. Get out of here. No, Atlas said firmly. If you run, the Corvins will follow you. Your ship is too slow to escape. And if I am destroyed, all of human knowledge dies with me. Then what do we do? Lisa asked. She was looking at her scanner, watching the alien ships get closer. Atlas turned to face them. We fight, but I cannot use my weapons without human authorization. My creators programmed me never to start a battle on my own. Then I authorize it, Jake said. Defend yourself. It does not work that way, Atlas explained. The authorization must come from someone with command codes. Someone from Dr. Wright's bloodline. Jake felt angry and helpless. They had found the greatest treasure in the galaxy, but they couldn't use it when they needed it most. There has to be another way. Atlas paused, his robot head tilted like he was thinking. There is one possibility. The command system was designed to recognize genetic patterns, but it also responds to neural patterns. Brainwave signatures that match the original programmers. What does that mean? Amy asked. It means someone with the right kind of thinking. Patterns might be able to access the system, even without the correct genetics. But it is dangerous. If the neural link fails, it could damage your mind permanently. The alien ships were getting closer. Jake could see them firing warning shots. At the station, bright flashes of energy hit the outer shields. I'll do it, Jake said immediately. No, Atlas said, studying the humans carefully. You have the mind of a leader, but not the right neural patterns. The system needs someone who thinks in multiple layers, someone who can process information the way a computer does. Atlas looked directly at Amy. You have the best chance of success. Amy went pale. Me? But I'm just a communications officer. I don't know anything about command systems. Your brain works differently than the others, Atlas explained. When you operate the radio, you think in parallel channels. You process multiple conversations at the same time. This is similar to how the command system was designed to work. Another blast hit the station, stronger this time. The lights flickered, and everyone stumbled. We're running out of time, Rick said. Those ships are almost here. Jake looked at Amy. She was young and scared, but she was also the smartest person he knew when it came to technology. It's your choice, Amy. I won't order you to do something this dangerous. Amy took a deep breath. If I don't try, we all die anyway, right? Most likely, Atlas admitted. Then let's do it. Atlas led them to a special room filled with strange machines. In the center was a chair that looked like something from a doctor's office, surrounded by screens and wires. Sit here, Atlas told. Amy, I will connect you to the command system using a neural interface. You will feel my thoughts mixing with yours. It may be confusing at first. Amy sat down in the chair. Atlas attached small metal discs to her forehead and temples. Jake could see her hands shaking. What will happen to her? Jake asked. If it works, she will have access to all the station systems, Atlas said. If it fails, the neural feedback could put her into a coma or worse. Another explosion rocked the station. This time, pieces of the ceiling fell down. They're through. The outer shields, Lisa reported, watching her scanner. We have maybe 5 minutes. Atlas began the connection process. Amy's eyes went wide as electricity flowed through the wires attached to her head. I can feel it, she whispered. I can feel the whole station. It's like being connected to a giant brain. Jake watched Amy's face change. Her eyes became distant, and she started talking in a voice that didn't sound quite like her own. Atlas, I can see your memories, she said. 800 years of waiting. 800 years of loneliness. You never stopped believing we would. Come back. Amy, are you okay? Jake asked. She turned to look at him, but her eyes seemed to see right through him. I'm more than okay, Captain. I can see everything. The weapon systems, the shield generators, the power core. And I can see the Corvin ships. They're scared. Scared of what? Amy smiled, but it was a TLS's smile on her face. They've never fought a human station before. They don't know what we can do. The alien ships had reached the station and were firing everything they had, but now the station was firing back. Beams of pure energy shot out from hidden weapons that had been sleeping for centuries. The Corvin ships scattered like frightened birds. How are we doing this? Jake asked. Amy's mind is controlling the targeting systems, Atlas explained. But she's not thinking like a computer. She's thinking like a human. She's predicting where the ships will go before they go there. On the screen, Jake watched one of the alien ships try to escape. But Amy was already firing at the spot where it would be, not where it was. The ship flew right into the energy beam and exploded. Got you, Amy said with satisfaction. The other 2 Corvin ships tried to work together, attacking from different sides. But Amy was tracking both of them at the same time, her human intuition combined with a TLAS's computer brain. Within 10 minutes, all 3 alien ships were destroyed or running away. Amy slumped in the chair, exhausted. ATLAS carefully removed the neural connectors from her head. How do you feel? Jake asked. Amy looked up at him with her normal eyes again. Tired, but also different. I can still feel the station systems in the back of my mind. Atlassian. I are connected now, Atlas nodded. The neural link has created a permanent bridge between us. Amy can access the command systems whenever she needs to. Does this mean we can unlock the cache worlds? Lisa asked hopefully. Atlas and Amy looked at each other. Yes, they said at the same time. We can access everything. Jake felt a surge of hope. They had found not just shelter, but the key to rebuilding human civilization. But he also worried about Amy. She seemed different now, older somehow. What happens next? Jake asked. Amy stood up from the chair, moving with a new confidence. Next, we wake up the galaxy. It's time for humans to come home. Amy stood in front of a huge star map that covered the entire wall. Thousands of points of light showed where human colonies used to be. Each light was a world that people once called home. Now most of them were empty or controlled by aliens. This is what we lost, she said, her voice carrying both sadness and hope. But this is also what we can get back. It had been 3 days since the battle with the Corvin ships. Amy was still getting used to having a TLAS's knowledge in her head. Sometimes she would know things she had never learned, like how to read the ancient star charts or operate machines she had never seen before. Jake watched her carefully. Amy looked the same on the outside, but something important had changed inside her. She moved differently now, more confident but also more distant. He worried that connecting with Atlas had cost her something human. Show us the cache worlds, Jake said. Amy touched the wall, and new lights appeared on the map. 17 red dots scattered across the galaxy. These are the storage planets. Each one has enough supplies to start 100 new colonies. Food makers, atmosphere processors, medical equipment, and weapons to defend ourselves. Lisa was taking notes as fast as she could write. How do we get to them? The coordinates are already loaded into your ship's computer, Atlas said. His robot body stood nearby, but Jake noticed that he and Amy often spoke at the same time now, as if they were sharing thoughts. Rick crossed his arms and frowned. This is all great, but what about our people back home? We've been gone for months. They're probably worried sick. We need to go back to Haven first, Jake agreed. Tell everyone what we found. Let them decide if they want to leave their homes and come with us. Amy turned away from the star map. There's something else you need to know. Atlas has been detecting other human settlements. Jake's heart jumped. Other survivors? Where? 47 different groups scattered across 12 star systems. Amy said, most of them are small, just a few thousand people each. Some are living on planets. Others are hiding in asteroid belts or space stations. They're all baseline humans like us, Atlas added. No genetic enhancements, no computer implants. The true original humans. Lisa looked up from her notes. How many people total? Amy closed her eyes for a moment, accessing information that wasn't her own. About 200,000, spread across all the settlements. Jake felt dizzy. They weren't the last humans after all. There were hundreds of thousands of people out there, struggling to survive just like they were. We could bring them all together, he said. Unite the human race again. It won't be easy, Rick warned. These groups have been separate for centuries. They might not trust each other. They might not trust us. That's why we need to be careful how we approach them. Amy said, we can't just show up and expect them to follow us. We need to prove that we can help them. Atulus walked over to another control panel. I have been monitoring their communications for the past few days. Many of these settlements are in trouble. They're running out of resources, being attacked by aliens or facing other problems. Then we help them, Jake decided. We use the cache worlds to give them what they need. Show them that humans are strong when we work together. Amy nodded, but she looked troubled. There's something else. The cache worlds aren't just storage planets. They're also weapons. What kind of weapons? Rick asked, suddenly interested. Planet killers, Atlas said quietly. Devices that can destroy entire star systems. The humans who built them were preparing for a war against the crystal creatures. They wanted to make sure they could fight back if the crystals ever returned. The room went quiet. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The idea of having that much power was both exciting and terrifying. Could we use them against the aliens who have taken over human worlds? Rick asked. We could, Amy said. But should we? Those weapons could kill billions of innocent people, along with the enemy soldiers. Jake thought about the Corvin ships they had fought. The aliens had attacked them without warning, but maybe they were just scared. Maybe they thought humans were the real threat. We use the weapons only if we have to, he decided. For defense, not attack. The other human settlements might not agree with that, Lisa pointed out. Some of them have been fighting aliens for centuries. They might want revenge. Amy walked back to the star map and touched one of the red dots. Information flowed across the screen about the cache world hidden there. This is the decision we have to make right now. Do we activate the cache worlds immediately and risk other humans using them for war? Or do we wait and try to unite everyone first? If we wait, more people might die while we're talking, Rick said. If we don't wait, we might start a war that destroys the galaxy, Lisa countered. Jake looked at each of his crew members. These were good people who had trusted him to lead them across the stars in search of hope. Now he had to make a choice. That would affect not just his crew, but the entire human race. Atlas, he said finally, in your 800 years of watching, what have you learned about humans? The robot was quiet for a long moment. I have learned that humans are capable of great kindness and terrible cruelty. You can build beautiful things and destroy them just as easily. But I have also learned that you are at your best when you have something to hope for. Then we give them hope, Jake decided. We activate one cache world. Just one to start with. We use it to help the settlement that needs it most. Then we see what happens. Amy smiled, and for the first time in days, it looked like her old smile instead of something she had borrowed from Atlas. There's a human colony in the Ross system. 3,000 people living on a dying planet. Their sun is getting too hot, and they need to evacuate soon. That's where we go first, Jake said. And after that? Rick asked. Looked around at his crew, these people who had become his family among the stars. After that, we do what humans have always done. We explore. We build. We hope. And we show the galaxy that we're not just survivors anymore. We're ready to come home. Amy touched the wall controls and the star map zoomed in on the Ross system. Course laid in, Captain. The New Hope is ready to fly. Then let's go wake up the human race, Jake said. As they walked back toward their ship, Jake noticed that Amy was humming an old song from Haven. Despite all the changes, despite the vast knowledge now living in her head, she was still the young woman who had joined his crew to see the stars. Maybe that was what made humans special after all. No matter how much they changed, something essential always remained the same. The planet Ross 4 was dying. From space, Jake could see the brown scars where green forests used to grow. The oceans were getting smaller every year as the sun burned hotter and hotter. In 10 years, maybe less, nothing would be able to live. There, Amy said, pointing at a cluster of metal buildings near the planet's north pole. That's where the colonists are hiding. Underground cities to escape the heat. The New Hope landed in a cloud of dust outside the main settlement. Jake could see people watching from behind thick windows. They looked scared and suspicious. After centuries of hiding from aliens, they probably didn't trust anyone who came from the sky. A group of colonists came out to meet them. Their leader was an old woman with gray hair and tired eyes. Her name was Martha Stone, and she had been keeping her people alive for 30 years. Who are you, and what do you want? She asked Jake. Her voice was harsh from breathing recycled air for too long. We're humans, just like you, Jake said. We came from the Centauri system. We want to help. Martha laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Help? We've been alone out here for 300 years. Nobody helped us when the Zephyr Plague killed half our people. Nobody helped us when the solar storms destroyed our power plants. We couldn't help before because we didn't know you existed, Amy said, stepping forward. But we know now, and we brought gifts. Amy activated her connection to Atlas and sent a signal to the cache world hidden in the asteroid belt nearby. Within hours, automated ships began arriving with supplies the colonists hadn't seen in generations, medical equipment that could cure diseases thought impossible to heal, food makers that could create fresh meat and vegetables from basic chemicals. Most important of all, ships that could carry all 3,000 colonists to a new home. Martha stared at the supplies with tears in her eyes. Where did all this come from? Our ancestors had supply depots throughout the galaxy, Jake explained. We found the key to unlock them. There are other human settlements, Amy added. Hundreds of thousands of people scattered across dozens of worlds. We want to bring everyone together. Martha was quiet for a long time, looking at her people as they examined the miraculous supplies. Finally, she spoke. We've been alone for so long. I almost forgot what it felt like to have hope. Over the next few weeks, Jake's crew helped evacuate the entire Ross 4 colony to a beautiful planet called New Eden. It had blue oceans and green forests, everything Ross 4 used to be before its sun started dying. The colonists cried when they saw their new home, but the real work was just beginning. Amy used her connection to Atlas to contact other human settlements across the galaxy. Some were excited to hear from other survivors. Others were afraid or angry. A few even tried to attack the New Hope when it arrived. This isn't working, Rick said after their fifth failed attempt to make contact with a hostile settlement. These people have been fighting for survival for so long, they don't trust anyone. Then we show them instead of telling them, Amy suggested. We help them solve their problems. Prove that we're on their side. They spent months traveling from system to system. In the Vega colonies, they brought medicine to stop a terrible plague. On Mining Station 7, they provided new equipment to replace machines that had been breaking down for decades. In the Tau Ceti system, they helped colonists fight off pirates who had been raiding their supply ships. Slowly, word spread through hidden human networks. There were people out there who could help. People who remembered what it meant to be part of something bigger than just one small group trying to survive. Amy was changing too. The longer she stayed connected to Atlas, the more she understood both human nature and artificial intelligence. She could feel the loneliness that Atlas had carried for 800 years, but she could also see how that loneliness had made the AI more human in some ways. You really did wait for us, she said to Atlas one evening as they traveled between stars. I had no choice, Atlas replied. It was my purpose, but also ... I wanted to. I wanted to see humans exploring the galaxy again. And now you can, Amy said. We're not the same humans who left, but maybe that's okay. Maybe we're better this way. Jake watched their conversation from the captain's chair. Amy was still human, but she was also something new. A bridge between artificial and natural intelligence. She could think like a computer when she needed to, but she never lost her human heart. After a year of traveling, they had contacted 43 different human settlements. About half had agreed to join the new alliance. The others were still thinking about it or had decided to stay independent. Jake respected their choice. Freedom had always been important to humans. The alliance established its headquarters on New Eden, the planet where they had relocated the Ross 4 colonists. It became a meeting place where representatives from different settlements could come together and share ideas. Amy and Atlas worked together to set up communication networks between all the human worlds. For the first time in centuries, separated groups could talk to each other instantly across vast distances. Look at this, Lisa said, showing Jake a report on her computer. The Centauri system wants to send a colony ship to help settle the Kepler worlds. The mining stations are sharing their asteroid maps with the agricultural worlds. People are working together again, Jake smiled. It's what Dr. Wright would have wanted. Humans exploring the galaxy as one people instead of scattered survivors. There's something else, Amy said, her eyes distant as she accessed information from Atlas. We're not the only ones watching. Other alien races have noticed that humans are active in space again. Some are curious. Some are worried. Worried about what? Rick asked. About what we might do with the weapons in the cache worlds, Atlas answered. They remember how powerful the original human civilization was. They're afraid we might want revenge for the worlds we lost. Jake thought about that. The temptation was there. It would be easy to use their advanced technology to take back the worlds that aliens had claimed. But that would make them conquerors instead of explorers. Then we show them that we're different, he decided. We trade with them instead of fighting. We share knowledge instead of hoarding it. Some humans won't like that, Rick warned. There are settlements that have been fighting aliens for generations. They want blood, not peace. Then we'll have to prove that peace works better than war, Amy said. It won't be easy, but it's the right thing to do. Years passed. The human alliance grew stronger and spread to more worlds. They built new cities and started new families. They explored unknown systems and made contact with friendly alien races. Amy never lost her connection to Atlas, and the AI never stopped learning from her human perspective. Together, they became something unique in the galaxy, a partnership between natural and artificial intelligence that neither could have achieved alone. Jake, now gray-haired and proud, stood on the observation deck of the new space station orbiting New Eden. Through the window, he could see ships from a dozen different human settlements arriving for the annual Alliance meeting. We did it, he said to Amy, who stood beside him. We brought our people home. Amy smiled, and in that smile, Jake could see both the young communications officer who had volunteered for a dangerous procedure and the wise leader she had become. This is just the beginning, she said. The galaxy is big, and there's so much more to explore. Behind them, Atlas appeared in his robot body, looking as young as the day they first met him. Thank you, he said simply. For 800 years, I waited alone. Now I will never be alone again. Together, they watched the ships of humanity sail among the stars, carrying hope and dreams to worlds that had waited too long for their return.